Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see here. Take-Two CEO says PlayStation 5 Pro is not meaningful. Oh man, the PlayStation fan base is about to go off. Okay. Well, what's up, people? Another beautiful day or night. Yeah. Hope your 5 senses work out. The strength is good. Or excellent. What? What's up, WCCF Tech? Listen to this article. Rumor. PlayStation 5 Pro and other mid-gen console not that meaningful. Take-Two CEO says. Wow. So the Xbox, so Phil Spencer was right. So the question is now, okay, Sony, what are you building a PlayStation 5 Pro for? Anyway, listen to this. It says here, according to Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick, mid-gen console upgrades, which also include the rumored PS5 Pro model, aren't that important. That's what the executive told IGN ahead of release of Take-Two most recent financial result for the first quarter of its current fiasco year. As outed by Zelnick, it's all depends on what this mid-gen refreshment includes, but in general, these upgrades aren't all that meaningful and don't change much. Oh boy, PlayStation fans are about to go off. It says it all depends on what that mid-gen upgrade would look like. The Take-Two CEO told IGN, generally speaking, the mid-gen generational upgrades haven't really changed much. Zelnick added that mid-gen console upgrades aren't that meaningful. Interestingly, although Zelnick doesn't see these upgrades as too much meaningful, some months ago he did say that he believed that both Microsoft and Sony will be releasing upgrades in the near future. We probably will, he said back in May of this year. In pre-briefing call, he added, they did not affect the business very much. Recent rumors suggest that Sony planned to release a new PS5 model, possibly a Pro, sometime next year. Meanwhile, as covered recently, Microsoft appeared to be considering the Xbox Series X as its mid-gen refresh model. The Series S is being considered as Microsoft's standard Xbox machine. Yeah, they need a Blu-ray drive for that thing, by the way. It says here, during the last gen console cycle, both Microsoft and Sony released mid-gen upgrades in the form of the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X, with the latter being considered the more powerful of the two. It remains to be seen if we'll see upgrades of the PS5 and Xbox Series X at some point. But apparently Microsoft is at least looking into releasing a digital-only Series X model. In addition, the company is said to plan other hardware for 2025, 5 years after the launch of the Series X and Series S. Here's what we wrote about Microsoft Series X in our launch review. Microsoft next generation console, in addition to being its most powerful machine designed to date, is a celebration of 2 decades of Xbox gaming with nearly full support for the history of Xbox and support for what could be a robust future of gaming, although the potential for the Xbox Series X has yet to be fully realized, we wrote in 2020. Okay, how many comments we got? What do we got? Talk to me. Got 49 comments. Somebody said, I really don't see the point in this. From the looks of it, the 7700 series will not improve much over the 6700 series. One thing that would help a lot, and it will help RT, is increasing the memory speed from 14 gigabytes per second. I think that the stock PS5 to 20 gigabytes per second may be add another 8 gigs, so 24 gigs total. Talking about the RAM here. They want 24 gigs of RAM in the PS5. However, at this point, rather wait for a PlayStation 6 with Zen 5/Zen 6, RDNA 4/RDNA 5, and 32 gigs or 48 gigs of RAM. Anyway, another person here says, all this to make you buy the same console gen twice? Refreshing design that way to milk it? Someone else said here, how often do you replace your graphics card in 10 years? So then someone respond, I don't know. Need. Someone else here said, so you will still use your Radeon 7970 or GTX 680. Another person here says, if they do a Pro, it will come in at maybe 40 to 60% more powerful in GPU areas, and that is about it. IMO, I doubt you see much in CPU area. Similarly to the PS4 versus PS4 Pro, I would be good with that, as you would finally be able to play high resolution mode at 60 frames per second /4K. Somebody said, yeah, I just want a PlayStation 5 Slim, and I hope it is not as ridiculous looking as the original one. Someone else here said, so you are saying it is a PS5 Slim? And then another person here responded. He says, more proof that Sony needs to invest into a Windows competitor built on BSD and use PlayStation Store to distribute games on it, and perhaps even software. That way Sony won't have to waste time on hardware. They can keep building overpriced controllers that works well with only their games. Someone else here says, I love the controller design and features, but that thing is not reliable at all. Bought one to use in the PC in 2021, almost a year after the X button started to malfunction. Luckily, I had warranty, so got a new one. That was almost a year ago, and this one is now drifting. The left analog and warranty was not extended, so it is expired already. Oh, and the battery GD, the battery drains extremely fast, even more when the HD rumble is supported. Another person here says, exactly what I was saying years ago, still not happening, unfortunately. That would make PlayStation 5 games port easier to a PS computer. Somebody else here said, the dual CPU GPU seems to me the most plausible design that would help take advantage of a low-cost architecture while improving performance drastically. I'll read one more. And another person here says, what's with that? Makes no sense at all. You won't get that. Stop it. It's too expensive, too much effort. Maybe we'll see a separate CPU/GPU memory pool or a CPU work RAM pool perhaps, but not in separate chip. It's just too expensive, too complicated for developers to use. Never gonna happen. And somebody says here, you are wrong. Mark Cerny PlayStation has patented a solution for that. Then he leaves a link. Then he says, so now a PS5 Pro suddenly makes sense, and even more if you can upgrade all PS5 owners to PS5 Pro level pref. Nice. Say all PS5 Pro is gonna be a bump up in GPU preference. Everything else will remain the same. Similar to the difference between the PS4 and PS4 Pro, all I can see it's being capable of is higher render resolution or higher FPS. The dual GPU patent may be something they are looking at doing with the PlayStation 6, but hoping for some massive / drastic change in capabilities with the PS5 Pro is a pipe dream. The number one goal will be is price over preference. Okay, look, let me stop there. I'm still laughing at Take Two. Take Two. I see Strauss Zelnick. He's funny. Let's see. Okay. He says, it's not that meaningful. And then he says down in the article, aren't that important. Well, the question is, do we really need do you guys really need a PS5 Pro? Are you happy with the PlayStation as it is? Okay, you know, I seen, I forgot, who was that? I seen a video with, I think it was Rich from Review Tech. He did a video talking about the PlayStation 5 USB ports. They were overheating or burning out at Evo. So maybe you know, maybe Sony you know, could like make a PlayStation 5 Slim where the USB ports are fixed or whatever. But is a PlayStation 5 Pro really needed? Like one person said in the article, like 24 gigs of RAM. That makes more sense. I could see that happening, but GPU wise, CPU wise, is a Pro really needed? I don't think so. I mean, video games. Look, video games are very demanding. So they're very demanding, man. Because the more detailed the game, the more CPU you need, the more GPU you need, the more RAM you need to bring all that stuff out. So a PlayStation 5 Pro, not needed. What'd he say? He said, what he said here, not that meaningful, and aren't that important? Well, not according to video games, you know. The more detailed a game gets, you know, you have to. You look. Here's my honest opinion. You have to do a mid-gen refresh. You have to do a refresh, you know, to keep up with the demands of video games. That's just my take on the whole thing. You know, my take on the whole thing. You have to, because video games are so complex, so demanding, and you know, so detailed. So whenever you bring out details in video games, man, you got to have the CPU, the GPU, and the RAM, the triangle, to run all that, man. So yeah, and then those FSR and ray tracing also comes in handy. So, or XeSS. So is it really needed? I would say so, you know, because video games are getting demanding, you know. You have to come out with a mid-gen, because you're trying to fix whatever issue the first console model have, you know. Whatever issue the first model of the PlayStation 5 has, you want to fix that with the second, with the Pro, you know. You want to fix that, you know. And if it means that you gotta upgrade all the parts on it to get a better performance, game wise, so be it, you know. So be it. So to me, Strauss Zelnick right now is just talking. To me, he's just talking nonsense. We'll be real honest with you. I think he's talking nonsense, because video games, they demand that. I mean, they demand. They're very very demanding and very high maintenance. So you have to have a refresh, you know, to keep up with the demands of video games. You have to, you know. It's like having a car. You can't run a car on the same parts, and then expect the results are going to stay. You can't run a car on the same parts and then expect the performance is going to get better. You got to change some things in your car to improve the performance. So it's the same thing in video games. It's the same thing with computers. You want a better performance, you got to upgrade the parts. So and it makes things I mean, a lot much better. So yeah. Look, I went from the original Xbox, then I went from the One S into the One X, and I'm gonna be real honest with you. The One X is no joke, man. I mean, look, I played Batman Arkham Asylum on the Xbox One, and then I played it on the One S. But then when I got to the One X, big difference, very big difference. So, you know, the better the hardware in video games, the better the performance, and the better the experience in video games. You know, it makes video games more enjoyable. So, of course, you got to have a refresh. You have to. You know, the video games are going to demand that you have a refresh. You know, it's like, okay, it's like take a computer operating system. Sometimes like if you have let's say you have 2 gigs of RAM in a laptop, and then you're sitting there using your laptop, but then every time you open a window, you always get these beeps and these crashes. What that's telling you is that you need more RAM inside your computer in order to have a better experience. So the same goes as video games. You have to refresh your console to improve the performance of the games that you're running. And then it keeps things running smooth. The console refresher needs it, man. You know, life doesn't. What's that word I'm looking for? Life doesn't. You can't. It's like you can't do the. You can't. It's like what? You can't do the same thing, and then expect to get the same results. So every time, because like every time you come up with a new game for a console, it's like it pushes the boundary, you know, and you know, it raises the bar, you know. So yeah, you just have to, you know, you just have to, especially with consoles, man. You just have to, because these games are so demanding, you know. Refreshes are needed, you know, to keep things moving, you know. You don't want to be, as a console maker, you don't want to be stagnant. You know, you don't want to be stagnant. You don't want to be like a lake. You don't want to be like a lake with water in it, and it's not moving. It's just stagnant. So you have to have these refresh to keep things moving, and to keep things in a proper perspective, you know. It's just like with Valve right now. They got the Steam Deck out, and somebody just figured, one of the modders, they found a way to increase the RAM to 32 gigs of RAM on the Steam Deck. Yeah, so 32 gigs of RAM is better than 16. I'm just saying. So yeah, you have to. I mean, you have to upgrade, man. You know, that's the way life is, man. You have to. You know, you have to. When it comes to, it's like you're always you're trying to get to the. You have to keep pushing the boundaries when it comes to video games, man. And yeah. And if it means that you got to do a mid-gen refresh or so be it, man. What you say is that it's not that important. aren't that important, or what did he say? I'm sitting here laughing. He said, let's see here. What did he say? He said, aren't that meaningful? Come on, Strauss, you're better than that. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Born Dark Side. Go. Peace.